The show that keeps you ahead of the global curve. A conversation you'd want to be a part of.
A place where news becomes an engaging exchange.
We bring you stories that impact your present.
This is World DNA.
Join the conversation.
The biggest democratic exercise on the planet ever. Decoding the multiple colors of this multi-dimensional, multi-layered spectacle. WION deciphers the images and the hues. Sifts real performance from rhetoric and noise, claims and counterclaims, populist pitches and hidden truths. Untangling, unraveling this celebration of democracy.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Race to Power with me, Ananya Datta. Here's what is coming up. In the United States, Donald Trump's hush money trial has dominated headlines. Prosecutors' key witness, Stormy Daniels, made some explosive claims, but she will soon face the tough questions. Trump's lawyers seem ready. In India, the situation can be described through a famous meme. Same, but different. While the BJP's chief has been summoned over a communal social media post, Congress's overseas chief has resigned because of his racist comments. We bring you both stories. All eyes remain on Donald Trump's hush money trial. Porn star Stormy Daniels is scheduled to take the stand for the second time on Thursday, as Trump's lawyers will resume her cross-examination amid accusations of falsifying business records against the former US president. Now, Daniels took the stand on Tuesday, where she explained in graphic details the nature of her sexual encounter with Donald Trump. Before the day ended, the Republican leader's legal team had begun questioning her, while also accusing the porn star of counting on Trump's conviction so that she won't have to pay the former president a sum of money that she owes him for another case. While we wait for the trial to resume on Thursday, here's a report on everything that has happened so far.
Adult film star Stormy Daniels took the witness stand at Donald Trump's criminal trial on Tuesday. Daniels, whose alleged sexual encounter with Trump is at the heart of his hush money trial, delivered dramatic testimony, telling a New York jury that she tried not to think about the sex while it took place and feared it would become public. Trump is charged with falsifying business records to cover up a $130,000 payment to Daniels in 2016 to keep quiet about the encounter she says they had 10 years earlier. The former president has pleaded not guilty to the charges and denies ever having sex with her. Daniels testified that she was invited to Trump's hotel suite at a 2006 celebrity golf tournament, where Trump made sexual advances towards her. She said she, quote, blacked out, despite consuming no drugs or alcohol, after Trump prevented her from leaving the room by blocking the door, and woke up on the bed with her clothes off. Her testimony prompted Trump's legal team to ask for a mistrial, arguing that her account included details that inflamed the jury and were irrelevant to the case. But the judge denied that request. According to Daniels, she was determined to keep the incident private but changed her mind during Trump's 2016 presidential bid, when he faced multiple accusations of sexual misbehavior.
I should be out campaigning right now.
The 2024 Republican candidate for president says the trial is an attempt to hobble his attempt to win back the White House. Trump faces 3 other criminal prosecutions and has pleaded not guilty in all of them.
Now to take this further, we are being joined by our correspondent Susan Tehrani from New York. Susan, good to see you. Now the big, much awaited testimony, of course, we have heard, and Stormy Daniels does await the tough questions by Trump's defense team now. What do we expect on Thursday?
So the Trump team was taken aback that Stormy Daniels would take the witness stands on Tuesday because they said they didn't have enough time to prepare for cross-examination. Although at the end of the day on Tuesday, we did learn about a cross-examination, very harsh ones where Stormy Daniels got defensive. But I think we're going to expect more of that and a lot more dramatic events unfolding on Thursday when these individuals go back into court. Remember, many legal scholars argue that Stormy Daniels, her testimony really doesn't have much to do with this hush money case that it's so called and Trump falsifying business records. But then those that are, with the prosecutor are somewhat arguing that by Stormy Daniels coming to the witness stands and giving as much detail as possible, although very uncomfortable for everyone in that courtroom, even for us journalists who've become tabloid journalists at this point because of this, it shows that Donald Trump is lying about this, hence he's lying about other stuff as well. So we're gonna see a pretty tough cross-examination moving forward.
Absolutely, Susan. If you could please stay with us. There is another story we have been tracking about Donald Trump that we would want your opinion on. While a face-off continues in one case, Donald Trump can breathe a sigh of relief, at least for the moment, on another pending criminal case against him. The trial against the former U.S. president on charges of illegally keeping classified documents at his home has been indefinitely postponed by a judge appointed by the Republican leader himself. Our next report getting you all the details.
Donald Trump's trial in Florida on charges of illegally keeping classified documents after leaving office has been indefinitely postponed. The judge's Tuesday decision greatly reduces Trump's odds of facing a jury in either of the 2 federal criminal cases against him before the November election. Trump has pleaded not guilty to 40 federal counts accusing him of retaining sensitive national security documents at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida after leaving office in 2021 and obstructing U.S. government efforts to retrieve them. The former U.S. president was previously set to go to trial on May 20th. But the prosecution and defense had both acknowledged that date would need to be delayed. The judge did not set a new date for the trial, but scheduled pretrial hearings to run through July 22nd. Trump is seeking to regain the presidency in November's presidential election in a rematch with Joe Biden. He has sought to portray all the legal cases against him as politically motivated, and his lawyers have worked to delay all 4 criminal cases he faces until after the vote. In an April Reuters Ipsos poll, nearly a quarter of Republican respondents and more than half of independents indicated they would not vote for Trump if a jury convicts him of a felony.
All right, our correspondent Susan Tehrani continues to be with us to decode this story as well. Susan, thanks for waiting. Now, lay it out for us, especially the timeline. We have a trial underway right now against Donald Trump. Then, of course, the elections are coming up in November. And then we have this another case, the classified documents case. Could you please lay out how this could actually pan out?
Yeah, so at this point, this case in New York may be the only hope for those that want to catch Donald Trump or convict him as the only opportunity that will go to trial. We heard that just now that document case has been postponed indefinitely. And then you have that Georgia case about him trying to, quote unquote, steal the 2020 elections. So you have that's not going to happen before the elections. So which leaves us with this hush money trial moving forward. So this is why it makes this case with a jury in New York so much more important. Although he could breathe a sigh of relief about that documents case, he was extremely frustrated by the fact that this case in New York will at least go for another 2 weeks, keeping him off the campaign trail. But nonetheless, these are cases and issues that the Democrats will continue to pound on. As we have less than 6 months left to the upcoming elections, it doesn't really matter much in terms of public opinion that case was postponed, but it does matter for the former president that he'll be perhaps have more time to go on the campaign trail and try to campaign and win those voters that are reluctant or undecided.
Absolutely, Susan. It has been tough for Trump to juggle between the courtroom drama, of course, and the campaign rallies. Thank you so much for getting us all those updates, Susan, from New York. Shifting focus to India now, Sam Pitroda, a senior Congress leader who has been at the epicenter of a controversy for the second time, has now resigned. Pitroda has stepped down from his Indian Overseas Congress post amid the row over his racist remarks. The leader's decision to step down as the chairperson of the Indian Overseas Congress has been accepted by party president Mallikarjun Kharge. Pitroda's resignation follows on the heels of his comments that Indians in the East resemble the Chinese, while those in the South look like Africans. A video of him making these controversial remarks has gone viral on social media. It must be noted that this unfolded during an interview where Pitroda was trying to actually draw an analogy of India's diversity. However, the attempt clearly backfired. The Bharatiya Janata Party wasted no time pouncing on Pitroda's remarks. While addressing a rally in Telangana, Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed his outrage, condemning Pitroda's statement, saying that such remarks are divisive and disrespectful. To give our viewers a little more background on Sam Pitroda, the Congress leader was Rajiv Gandhi's advisor when he was the Prime Minister. More recently, during the Congress-led UPA regime, then Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh had invited Sam Pitroda to head the National Knowledge Commission of India. Back in 2009, he became an advisor to Singh on public information infrastructure. Now, with India in the middle of its national elections, the polling body is monitoring the campaigns very closely. In the latest, the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party has come under the radar. The Karnataka police has issued a notice to BJP chief JP Nadda and its IT cell head Amit Malviya. An FIR has been registered in Bengaluru naming these two leaders. The two leaders have been given a week to appear. The controversy is over a post put out on BJP's Karnataka unit. The Karnataka Chief Electoral Officer had written to social media platform X to take down the post, but after the post was still accessible, the Election Commission ordered the platform to remove the post. Now, we cannot show you the exact contents of the controversial post, but it was an animated video allegedly showing Congress favouring Muslims for reservations at the cost of the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other backward classes. Now, an accusation that has been peddled by many senior BJP leaders. According to the Model Code of Conduct, no party or candidate shall issue or include in any activity which may aggravate existing differences or create mutual hatred or cause tension between different castes and communities, religious or linguistic. We can confirm the controversial post has now been taken down. Now, we continue to track the high-profile sexual abuse case in India coming in from Karnataka, where a father-son politician duo has been accused of kidnapping and rape. The son, Prajwal Revanna, continues to be outside India, while the father, H.D. Revanna, has been sent to judicial custody. The special investigation team arrested him in a kidnapping case on last Saturday. 4 days later, he has been sent to judicial custody till May 14th. The 66-year-old member of Legislative Assembly has cooperated with the police so far. It has been about a month since the case came to light. It was the day after Hassan constituency went to polls, the same constituency where son Prajwal Revanna is a candidate. Thousands of pen drives were circulated in public places that consisted close to 9,000 videos, where Revanna was seen allegedly abusing different women. Some women were over 60 years old and could be heard in the clips begging to let go. Reports say the women are government employees and domestic helps. A handful of former helpers then came forward with their official complaints. Notably, Ravanna was jointly fielded by JDS and Bharatiya Janata Party, while Prime Minister Narendra Modi was seen campaigning for Ravanna himself. In a recent interview, he has said that there should be zero tolerance for someone like Prajwal Ravanna. Modi further blamed Karnataka's Congress government for not maintaining law and order. Ravanna is the grandson of former Prime Minister and JDS patriarch H.D. Devagowda. His uncle H.D. Kumaraswamy was the former Chief Minister of Karnataka. Now, former South African President Jacob Zuma is facing strong dissent ahead of elections. In the latest, founder of the newly established MK party, Jabulani Khumalo, has requested the Independent Electoral Commission to remove Jacob Zuma from the ballot. Khumalo claims that Zuma occupied the role of party president by fraudulent means. In his letter, MK party founder accused Zuma of misconduct and mentioned that he is placed on precautionary suspension pending disciplinary proceedings. However, the Election Commission has said that it does not want to get involved in internal party conflicts. Khumalo's move comes after the former ANC President Zuma expelled him from MK last month. On the list of candidates for the National Assembly, Zuma is number 1 on the MK party list and has replaced Khumalo on the ballot ahead of the general election, which is scheduled on May 29th. Now, correspondent Kaldin Omu has more on this from Johannesburg.
No one can outsmart the chess master. That's a statement made by Dudu Zuma, referring to her father Jacob Zuma, after the latest drama between Zuma and MK party founder Jabulani Khumalo, who is currently expelled from the party. After Khumalo's letter to Zuma and Electoral Commission went viral, South Africans couldn't help but start a debate on social media platforms. While some laughed, saying that the new party is crumbling even before the elections began, others defended Zuma, saying an expelled party member cannot suspend the leader of the party. MK Youth League, in its statement, cautioned Khumalo and said that the majority of the youth aligned itself with the party only because of Zuma, and they will continue to do so. Meanwhile, Electoral Commission in its statement said that it does not involve itself in internal party politics and that Jacob Zuma is the registered leader and the Commission can only act on instructions of the registered party leader. This is Kaldin Omu from Johannesburg, South Africa for WION World is One.
Time for a short break now, but don't go too far. On the other side, we get you Scotland's story. It has a new First Minister. We tell you all about John Swinney.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
WION Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to WION Health Resort. Make your reservation at yowon.com.
Know more, understand better, think ahead. Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Get the facts, not the bombast. On the 26th of March, dynamic pricing, Baloch separatists, Gravitas cuts out the clutter. Gravitas keeps calm when others scream. Gravitas brings news to life. Weekdays, 9 p.m. IST, 3:30 p.m. GMT. Gravitas. Seeing is believing.
Welcome back. You're watching Race to Power with me, Ananya Datta. Scotland has a new First Minister, the second head of government in 2 long years. A few hours ago, the Scottish Parliament voted to approve SNP's veteran leader John Swinney's bid to succeed Humza Yousaf. Swinney secured the backing of 64 parliamentarians in the vote. However, the process resulted in an inevitable victory for the SNP leader as his nearest rival, Scottish Conservatives leader Douglas Ross, got only 31 votes. The voting comes after Swinney was elected unopposed as leader of the SNP just on Monday.
I offer myself to be the First Minister for everyone in Scotland. I am here to serve you. I will give everything I have to build the best future for our country. I commit my government to working to create that agreement across the chamber. I hope there is space and the willingness for that to happen in the interests of the people who sent us here.
Swinney had previously led the Pro-Independence Party from 2000 to 2004. Just last week, 60-year-old Swinney announced his candidature for Scotland's next leader. After First Minister Yousaf stepped down, Yousaf quit office ahead of a crucial no-confidence vote after he ended a power-sharing agreement with coalition partner, the Green Party, over differences on climate policy. Another news, North Macedonia is conducting parliamentary and presidential elections, and on the ballot are factors which remain common across the world: corruption, unemployment and inflation. As voters cast their ballot in the double election, analysts predict that the right-wing opposition is expected to gain ground against the ruling party. And one of the biggest reasons for this is the government's inaction over North Macedonia's bid to join the European Union. Ruling party leader and prime ministerial candidate for SDSM was also seen casting his vote and urging people to come out in big numbers to exercise their right.
The citizens have the final decision on which direction the state will be moving. If it will be a state that by 2030 will become a member state of the European Union with President Penderovsky and the Coalition for European Future and SDSM. Or, again, we will go back to a past time that we saw for a whole decade.
Incumbent President Stevo Penderovsky was also seen exercising his vote. The SDSM leader had earlier finished a distant second in the first round of the presidential vote. But amid the voters of North Macedonia, there is frustration and apathy, especially towards the country's sluggish progress towards joining the EU bloc. The decision was greeted with optimism in 2005, but ever since it has become the symbol of North Macedonian government's lost promise to its people. Additionally, enduring corruption and slow development have also soured voters against the ruling party.
The citizens have the final decision on which direction the state will be moving. If it will be a state that by 2030 will become a member state of the European Union with President Penderovsky and the Coalition for European Future and SDSM. Or, again, we will go back to a past time that we saw for a whole decade.
The poll mandate will have a major impact on the Balkan nation's future as far as membership of the European Union is concerned. Speculation reveals that the opposition has a fighting chance against the incumbent, with the nationalist VMRO DPMNE party winning a landslide victory in the first round of presidential elections just last month. Now, before we go, let's circle back to India from a business and economic standpoint. As the world's largest democracy is in the middle of elections, India is the fastest growing major economy in the entire world. But contribution from rural economy has been disappointing since the pandemic. Now, experts suggest that the general elections may finally drive rural demand and accelerate national growth. Take a look at our next report to find out more.
India has completed 3 out of 7 phases of polling to elect its next government. A key trend to note here is the voter turnout levels. Rural India has consistently recorded a better voter turnout than their urban counterparts. That's because rural India could emerge as the biggest beneficiary of the poll season. A surge in campaign spending is expected to drive increased rural consumption. Products such as vehicles and fast-moving consumer goods could see the highest demand, according to some reports. Political and economical observers also cite historical data that suggests rural demand picks up after an election year. That's because political parties distribute freebies and dole out cash to voters despite a strict crackdown by Election Commission officials. While polls can accelerate rural demand, India's rural citizens still rely heavily on job opportunities created by the agricultural sector. That means citizens in villages and small towns will look for optimal monsoons to boost their incomes and consumption. We report, WION World is One.
And with that, we are wrapping up this edition of Race to Power. Thanks for watching with me, Ananya Datta.
The biggest democratic exercise on the planet ever. Decoding the multiple colors of this multi-dimensional, multi-layered spectacle. WION deciphers the images and the hues. Sifts real performance from rhetoric and noise, claims and counter-claims, populist pitches and hidden truths. Untangling, unraveling this celebration of democracy.
Economic turmoil and global unrest have cast a shadow over President Joe Biden's approval ratings.
The rockets are continuing to be fired by Hamas in Gaza, although at a slower rate than previously.
So, right now, we are with the volunteers from the Aleppo municipality. They are still trying to go to the rescue for the people they can find out.
India has emerged as a major diplomatic force at the world stage.
The rising cost of living in Nigeria continues to impact citizens from all walks of life.
The citizens of Gujarat witnessed a mega roadshow here in the city of Ahmedabad.
China is South Africa's largest trading partner for 134 years straight.
A domestic aircraft carrying 72 people on board crashed in Pokhara city in central Nepal.
165 injuries have been moved, 61 people are confirmed dead, and rescue operations continue around me.
After receiving an entire season's rainfall in a span of 48 hours, Chennai city has literally been brought to its knees.
For WION, World is One.
Everyone loves a contest. But sport isn't just about victory and defeat. When the GOATs in sport speak, you hear it first on WION.
You have to play good cricket over a period of time.
I should push myself right out of the damn tournament.
We go beyond the stats. Our stories are quoted the world over.
At WION, sport is part of our DNA. Come, join us on this journey. Weekdays 6:30 p.m. IST, 1 p.m. GMT.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
You're watching Fine Print on WION World is One. Thank you very much for joining us at this hour. I'm American Joker. The headlines. The head of the World Health Organization says that hospitals in the southern Gaza Strip have only 3 days of fuel left due to closed border crossings. Britain will expel Russia's defense attaché, remove diplomatic status from some properties and limit the strength and length of Russian diplomatic visas of what it calls a pattern of malign activity from Russia. A FedEx Airlines Boeing 767 cargo plane landed at Istanbul airport without its front landing gear. A Turkish transport ministry says there were no casualties and authorities have launched an investigation into that incident. European stocks advance with London markets striking another record driven by hopes of interest rate cuts as inflation eases. And the king of clay, Rafael Nadal, says he's happy with his fitness levels ahead of the Italian Open in Rome. The Spaniard is gearing up for what is likely to be his final French Open later this month. While the front lines of Ukraine are slowly collapsing under the barrage of Russian advances, Ukraine is now warning of possible power shutdowns across the country after a massive wave of Russian missiles and drones targeted the country's battered energy system. Our report details how perilous the situation has become.
Russian forces unleashed a brutal assault on Ukraine. Over 50 missiles and 20 drones rained down across the country, targeting critical infrastructure, power plants, communication hubs and transportation facilities bore the brunt of the attack. The latest assault marks a grim milestone in the war, with Russian forces demonstrating their capability to inflict widespread damage on critical infrastructure. Experts say that by taking out power, Moscow aims to rob